Okay, so in this video, I guess I'm raising another question for you. And the question is about, so far we've been thinking about time travel as being really, a case where we've got someone disappearing or going out of existence at one time, so baby. It's like this worm where it just stops there and then starts back up in the past, right? Where there's got to be some sort of causal connection between the going out of existence and the appearance here. But that's what we're thinking about, this kind of streak in time. But I wanted to raise another point. So there's a film. It's a nice film. Let me see if I can find it. It's actually, well, it's a very interesting film called Primer. And Primer, 2004, American science fiction. It was made on a tiny budget. And yeah, it's got an extremely low budget. So, has it got about the budget in here? Production. Not that it really matters, but it's kind of interesting. Primer. Budget. 7,000 US dollars they made this film for. I mean, incredible that they're able to make the film for the amount of money that they did. And yeah, it's a time travel movie, and it's extremely complicated, and it's got it's got a bit of a cult following. Some people have watched it like 40 times and tried to work out the exact, because it involved lots of people travelling back and then going forward again, and you're never quite sure what's happening. So it's quite good fun to try and work out what's going on. And it's supposed to be a consistent time travel story. Whether or not it really is, not sure. But anyway, what I want to talk about is, I mean, they've got this interesting idea for how the time travel works, and it just raises some really sort of puzzling thoughts. So I'm going to talk about it. And in this, rather than just, we see this kind of idea of time travel involves disappearing at one time and appearing at another, creating that discrepancy between external time and personal time. Well, that's the kind of model we have in like Doctor Who and in things like the Terminator films, where time travel occurs, and that's disappearing at one time, appearing at the other. In Primer, what happens is that they've got a box in which time runs backwards. So you've got kind of external time running in one direction, but inside the box time runs in the opposite direction. Okay, is the idea. So the way in which people time travel in the film is by getting into the box, and if you want to go back 3 hours into the past, you have to get in the box and stay in there for 3 hours. Then when you get out, you're 3 hours in the past. That's how it works. And there's all sorts of complicated things happen in the film, including putting one time traveling box inside of another, and all sorts of things like that. But anyway, here was my thought. Imagine that you're walking up to get inside the box. Okay, so here's here's the time traveling box. I'll try and draw it like a coffin. Okay, and let's suppose it's open. Oh, I had to draw it. Anyway, there we go. So that's its lid. Lid is open. Oh yeah, it's not bad for me, is it? That. Okay. So imagine that you know that when you get inside the box, time starts to run backwards. Yeah, there you are, about to get in the box. Oops. If I just delete it, I'll just close the thing down. How annoying. Give me a second. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still there. Good. You're about to get into the box. What would you see inside that box? So just reflect upon that for a minute. What would you see inside the box? And I think that the answer is, because, I mean, if you get into the box and time starts to run backwards, then imagine that it's, I don't know, 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. something, and you get into the box at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, then look, on 4 p.m. on the Tuesday, you would have, in the box you travel back and you'd be in there. So if you're about to get into the box, and at which point you'll start to travel backwards, you'll actually see yourself already inside the box, right? There you are. Okay? Because if you get in there and you travel back, then you start to move backwards in time. So if you look into the box before you get in there, well, you're already in there travelling backwards in time, right? And this is the bizarre thought. It's like, well, okay, that sort of makes sense, but what happens at the point when you step into the box? What exactly would you see happening? I mean, at that point, you inside the box would be getting out, would you? Or going backwards in... and here my brain starts to sort of go. And here's a question about, I mean, could you have something like this? Another way of thinking about it, or another thought here is, and this has got, by the way, this has all got more plausibility than it might seem to, because again, I've been thinking a bit about this. I haven't got any definite thoughts on it, but we can talk about it in the seminar if you're interested. It seems that what makes time flow in a particular direction in the physical universe is to do with entropy and the way in which some physical constants kind of work. And apparently it's possible, according to physics, to set the world up such that you could have a plane according to which time runs in one direction on one side of the plane, in the other direction. So, we could have time going in this direction here, and time going in the other direction here. And that just means that, if there's a being in this side of the box, it would be able to plan for the future that way. A being on this side would be planning in the opposite direction. We, looking across the divide, would see these people there walking backwards and blah blah blah, and they would see us as walking backwards. So, as it were, we've just got two universes with time running in the opposite direction, but they are physically next to each other. Okay. And my question here is a similar one to that. It's what happens if you cross the boundary? If you decided that you're going to step across into this other universe, when you hit this boundary, what would you see and what would happen? And that's it. It's a similar question to the one about what gets inside about the box. But my brain starts to melt out my ears when I try to think about this, and I find it very hard to get a grasp on it. So yeah, just a quick thought for you. Have a think about that. What happens? What would you see as you cross that boundary? Okay, so there we go. Another quick thought for you.